What's going on, everybody? Bros and Beers live on Friday night. We kind of do this segment where it's called Friday Night with the Bros, and we just drink some beer, talk football. Quick game plan for the night, though, is we go over our starts of the week. We go over some breakouts, maybe some hot takes. But before that, we talk about beer. It's the greatest thing ever. Ron, how's your Friday night going?
Going good. Excited to talk some more football. Halloween was yesterday.
Take the kids out?
I don't know. It's kind of cold.
Yeah,
For a little bit.
They lasted like 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. Funny enough, when we were out, we kind of just went around the neighborhood. My beer tonight is going to be a leftover beer night for me, so I still have some of the Liftbridge Oktoberfest left. I got a Kona Big Wave.
Oh, there you go.
And while we were out trick-or-treating last night, one of my neighbors, pushing the stroller with the twins in it, was like, "You want a beer?" And I'm like, I can't say no to a beer.
Yeah.
So he gave me a Castle Danger Cream Ale, which I don't think I've honestly tried before. So I'm kind of excited to try that one. So,
do you like Budweiser? Actually, I know you like Budweiser. It's very similar to that.
Yeah, I like Bud. Okay.
Hey, real quick though, can you show off your Marvel shirt?
Yeah.
Periodic table of Marvel. Okay.
We're nerds. We're nerds about sports.
Heck yeah. Video games and sports just go together.
It's one of my favorite shirts.
My beer for the night's pretty boring. It's just leftover beer. Some more Michelob Gold, and I got some Coronas in the fridge. I might pop out, open one of those tonight, but we'll see. It's beer. Beer's beer. So,
beer is beer.
Cheers, Ron.
Cheers.
I should mention we are live on Twitch right now. We go live every Friday night. Right there, bros_n_beers. We got a whole bunch of other socials where we post videos. You can check out other content. I say we get right into the starts of the week. Or actually, let's do a recap of last week, and I can give people just a quick synopsis of how this works. So we try to shoot for 3 of 5 every week on hits. What's a hit? So if a quarterback gets 20 points in a 6-point passing touchdown league, that's considered a hit. Running backs and wide receivers, it's 15 points in PPR. And then defense and tight end is 10 points or more in PPR. Like I said, we try to shoot for 3 for 5. Ron, quickly, you want to tell us how you did last week?
Yep, so I'll have to double check one. But I'll go through mine. So my QB start of the week was Kirk Cousins. He was a hit.
Yep.
He did really well against Tampa Bay. Let me pull up the stats. 4 touchdowns, 276 passing yards. So he hit, and I just have to check. I know. Okay. Javonte Williams was my running back start of the week. He did not hit, even though he had a really good matchup. Bo Nix just killed it through the air. So he didn't really have a lot of opportunity. JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba did not hit. I thought with DK out, he would be seeing a bigger target share. And Seattle just had a tough time moving the ball.
He had
Buffalo.
12.5 points.
Yeah, he was close, but close only counts. What is that saying? Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades or whatever.
Yep.
Sam Laporta hit. He had like 6 catches for almost 50 yards and a touchdown. And then Chicago, they played good defensively, but they didn't get the stats you need to perform well for fantasy defense. They didn't get interceptions, forced fumbles, sacks, or anything like that. So they did not hit. So last week, I was 2 for 5. I was close. Close but no cigar.
I mean, hey, you just need to go 4 for 5 this week, and you'll be all right. Average of 3 per week. Three for 5.
Right.
My week was a little better. I ended up going 4 of 5 with my one dud being Jordan Mason. And he got hurt.
Who got hurt? He got hurt.
Yeah. So I had Jameis Winston. He went off for the Cleveland Browns against the Ravens. Darnell Mooney against Tampa Bay. Tucker Kraft against Jacksonville. And then the Chargers defense against the Saints. 4 for 5 last week, and hopefully we can continue this week again. I should mention when it comes to these starts of the weeks, we're never going to say start CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be like anybody outside, like somewhat top 12, or it could be somebody who is a highly ranked player but like has been playing really bad. So it should be players that you might have to think about starting, that you could have this player or higher. Like they're not supposed to be super obvious. Because if I just told you to start Lamar Jackson,
they're going to be players.
Yeah, it should.
They're most likely going to be players that are like flex positions.
Correct. Maybe a waiver player.
Yeah, like you said, it's not going to be CeeDee Lamb or Bijan, Josh Allen. Like, you don't take those guys out of your lineup.
I mean, realistically,
doesn't matter who they're playing. As long as they're not hurt, you shouldn't be taking them out. So these are going to be players that are like, I need a position for this. Who am I going to play?
Like, all 5 of my starts for this week could potentially be waivers. So, let's get into our starts. Ron, you can start us off with your quarterback.
Do we want to do a quick Thursday or no?
I don't know how much it really matters. People can look it up, unless we want to do 10 minutes on it. But
I was just wanted to, it's kind of what we've been doing. We've just been doing a quick Thursday recap. For those of you that didn't watch, New York won 21-13. Rodgers and Adams and Wilson. I mean, they all look good. They all seem like they're starting to get on the same page here, which could, Rodgers and Adams are getting old, but those two and Wilson had a good game. I think the biggest story was how bad Houston looked. Like Stroud, rest of season, and
quarterback 18
without
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to get Nico back next week. He's not gonna have Diggs. He played well with Nico and Dell last year, so maybe that'll help. But this might have been Stroud's worst game as a pro.
We just had somebody in the chat talk about Garrett Wilson's catch. I mean, dude, that was insane.
That was one of the sweetest catches I've
ever seen.
Just one of the sweetest catches you'll see. Yeah. Dude, Wilson is a stud. I think him and Rodgers are finally starting to click, and you saw it last night. And now you got Adams, and you got pretty much two top 15, top 20 fantasy wide receivers, and Rodgers has still got an arm, and Brady played till he was 45 and played really well. So you got to think Rodgers can probably do it too. He's up there, but Mixon, RB1 rest of the season. He's getting 20 plus touches a game. But yeah, no major injuries in the game either. So, but yeah, Jets looked good finally. They'd lost 5 in a row. Breece Hall was kind of meh.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
He got 15 carries. He wasn't really using the passing game, but yeah, Houston looked abysmal. I mentioned to you earlier, Stroud only completed passes to 3 different players last night, which is
dude,
it's crazy.
Ever since the game where he tried to be a big brother to Caleb Williams, he has not played great. He hasn't even played good. He's been bad ever since then. It's like karma hit him right in the face. Just whoosh.
Who was you? Yeah. Quick recap. All right, now let's get into our Bros of the Week.
Bros of the Week. Yeah, who's your quarterback?
So my quarterback this week is Bo Nix versus Baltimore. Your start of the week last week was Jameis Winston, who was playing Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore just doesn't really have a great passing defense this year. Nix is coming off of his best game of the season. Gets a great matchup against Baltimore, like I said. Excuse me. Baltimore is 26 in points per game and is 32nd in the league in pass yards given up per game at 291. But they are very good against the run. So chances are that Denver and Sean Payton are going to be looking to take advantage of that. I think Payton is getting more confident with Nick's with just kind of letting him do his thing as the year goes on, and I think it's been very beneficial to him. Mobile quarterback too, so you know he's going to probably get you 30 to 40 yards at least a week. And so yeah, I think that Nix is going to keep the train chugging, and he's going to have another good week this week against a weak Baltimore pass defense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's had 2 or 3 really good weeks. You got to think Baltimore should. I mean, the Broncos have a really good defense, so maybe it'll be closer than we think. But there is a small chance that Baltimore runs away with it, and Nix is just even if he doesn't do great in the first 3 quarters, he gets a little bit of garbage time.
Right.
And real quick, we just made a trade the other night where I traded Bo Nix to you, so hopefully he can go off.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really, I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the hardest trades for me to make because I'm very highly on Nix, but I got Caleb Williams back, so I mean,
we both are.
And I just want to get as many picks as I can, so I think it was a win-win. You maybe got, we'll see, maybe got him at a little bit of a discount. But also, I thought, dude, both trades we made were pretty fair, right?
I agree.
Bo Nix,
I wouldn't have made them. I don't think either one of us would have actually accepted it if we didn't think it was fair.
Of course.
Bro Crush, yeah, you got that right.
That's right. Isn't Bo Nix the guy that you were talking about?
Yeah.
Bro Crush, right? He's a very handsome man, or something like that. We should pull back.
I said he was better. I said he was better looking than somebody. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I said he was better looking than, but
it's clipped back there somewhere.
On that.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, start Bo Nix against Baltimore. My start of the week for quarterback. Oh, thanks for the 100 biddies, Jorgie.
Biddies.
Hey, real quick, before I get on to mine, can we do a skull chant?
Yeah, this one is for,
it's for
MJ
Jorgie.
Jorge.
MJ Jorge 10. On that note, so there's one reason I wanted to do it. The player for my start is actually playing against the Vikings, and that's Joe Flacco. Plain and simple, Minnesota Vikings defense is really good against the run, and they're terrible against the pass. They give up the 3rd most passing yards, and they have the 3rd best rushing defense. Colts, they're going to have to throw the ball to win. Vikings also give up the 16th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, which is like middle of the pack, but still he could get 18 to 20 points, I think, very easily. All 4 of his wide receivers are actually healthy now, between Downs, Pittman, Pierce, and Adonai Mitchell. I'm looking forward to him playing. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later in the show. But, yeah, Joe Flacco coming in hot after benching Anthony Richardson. A bum. Just kidding. I had to throw it out there.
Yeah. He looks like a bust.
Dude, how do you check yourself out of the game?
They just could.
I understand you're tired, but, they could have just
He's
ran
one
the
of the,
ball. They just got a first down.
Yeah.
Run the ball and take a breather.
He's one of the most physical freaks in the NFL.
Yeah.
one of the most physically freakish dudes in the NFL, and you need to take a break. Yeah, he'll never live that down. Just because you're a top 5 draft pick doesn't mean you have to pan out in the NFL. And I don't think it's going to work out for him, but it's still early in his career, so we'll see.
Yeah, give the man a Red Bull. He'll be all right. All right, let's get on to who's your running back of the week, Ron?
So, my running back of the week is Chase Brown. He's playing Las Vegas. Just came out today that Zach Moss is doubtful. He just popped up on the injury report today with a neck injury. So Brown is going to be getting the lead back duties with Moss doubtful to play. And with that, Las Vegas is 27th in the league, giving up 26.3 points per game. They're kind of middle of the pack, below, I would say below average against the run in terms of yards given up. They give up 130 yards per game. Regardless of that, it's still a good opportunity for Brown to have a good game. He's going to be getting all the important touches. You know, we might see Travion Williams here and there. I think Brown is still going to be getting... I'd be surprised if he doesn't get like 20 touches this game. He's going to be getting all the goal line work. And he already does get most of the goal line work with Moss healthy. Las Vegas is a bad team too, so this could turn out to be a game where Cincinnati finds themselves up quite a bit early on and then just run Brown down their throat. Like I said, he's probably going to... I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 20 or more touches this game. And I think he's going to take advantage of a good matchup and a good opportunity to tote the ball a lot. So, Chase Brown versus Las Vegas, my running back, start of the week.
Hey, plain and simple, he's going to get a lot of work, whether it's receiving or rushing. I think it's a great call to start Chase Brown. Hey, chat, I got a little bit of trivia.
$50.
I got a little trivia question for chat. If you can guess what that sound is when people tip, you're not going to get anything, but I'll give you some props. I think Ron and I talked about it, or people in the comments, if you know what that sound is when people tip, you're a real OG. Let's just say that. I'll say it in like 5 or 6 minutes what it actually is. But my start of the week for running back, it has to do with injuries. I mean, injuries play a big deal in the sport because you have a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Brian Robinson is questionable to play, and even if he does play, I don't like the last 3 weeks he's played only less than 50% of the snaps. So because of that, start Austin Ekeler against the Giants. He's probably gonna get 15 touches, and even if he only gets 10, he's pretty efficient with his yardage this year. He should get a couple catches, and there's a good chance he could score a touchdown. The Giants in general give up the 6th most rushing yards and the 14th most fantasy points to running backs. So even if he doesn't get a full workload, this is a great matchup. And then you throw on a couple extra touches. Dude, this should be a great week for him. And I don't know if you're starting in this week in our keeper league, but if you are, I think you're going to be very excited, Ron. This is the week where Ekeler shows off. I don't know how to say it, but we're going to see some OG Austin Ekeler, I think, this week. I hope. So.
Okay.
And we should mention again, this is what we think. Anything happens in fantasy football. It's all gambling, but we try to look at stats, we try to look at trends, injuries, opportunities. We don't just pull names out of our hat. So, who's your wide receiver of the week, Ron? Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you pull names out of a hat.
Right.
I don't, but
Sometimes I'd like to say that I do, and I don't do so well. But that's not how we do it around here.
I just had a few beers and I just
So,
pulled a random name.
Yeah, right. My wide receiver start of the week goes with your quarterback start of the week, which I saw that
We got a couple
you
stacks.
did that with your wide receiver and my quarterback, but we'll get to that in a second. But my start of the week is Josh Downs. He's in my opinion, he's getting an upgrade at quarterback. With Flacco being announced to start this week, obviously, which is why you have him as your start of the week. Going against Minnesota. Minnesota got shredded last week by the Los Angeles Rams, and their pass defense is their weakness. They are 30th in the league in pass yards per game. And in the games that Flacco has played this year, so week 4 when he came in for the injured Richardson and then played week 5 and then week 6. In week 4, Downs got 9 targets with 8 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. In week 5, he had 12 targets, 9 catches, and 69 yards. No touchdowns, but in PPR, that's still almost 16 points. And in week 6, he had 7 catches on 10 targets, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Flacco likes throwing him the ball. Downs is a slot receiver. So you can kind of think of him as like a check down guy, intermediate, short route intermediate guy. And we saw last week when the Rams were playing the Vikings that Puka and Kupp were just kind of killing the Vikings in the middle of the field, getting open in those zones. And I think Downs is going to do that this week too, just finding the holes in the middle of that defense and getting chunk gains here and there. And I think he's going to get plenty of targets because I think Flacco likes to throw to him. So yeah, Josh Downs against Minnesota is my wide receiver start of the week. And real quick, to answer Jorge's question in chat, JJ going to go off this week? He better.
Yeah. Skull.
I don't know if the Colts. I haven't really looked. Yeah, let's throw it up. Let's throw it up.
Yeah, I'd have to look at exactly
JJ's the best wide receiver.
He is the best receiver in the league. Lamb is close, though.
He's matchup proof, so... And we've seen that,
yeah.
We've seen that Darnold likes to throw to him. And I think he's definitely going to go off again. Even though I hope it's not too much, because me and Jorge are playing each other. in our league this week, our keeper league this week, so he can go off if the rest of your team doesn't do good. And I agree, we could definitely use Cashman. He is the leader of our defense, and him being out, we've definitely seen that the Vikings are a lot more vulnerable with him out of that defense. But who was your wide receiver start of the week, Nick?
So I'm digging real deep in my bag of just pulling random names out. Start of the week this week is Troy Franklin. And he hasn't honestly done much this year, but he is a rookie, so we got to give him a little bit of time. And he was a college roommate of Bo Nix, so they have the connection, they have the rapport. He has seen an uptick in snaps. Last week was a little down, but they were up against Carolina, so I just don't think they really needed to pass. It was Carolina. Sorry about that. 3 weeks ago, so the last 4 weeks, his snap percentage has went 17, 65, 51, which, was getting better. And last week he saw only 37. Plain and simple, though, he's starting to learn the offense, and I just have a great feeling he's going to go off against the worst passing defense in the league. And yeah, they give the most passing yards, most fantasy points against wide receivers, and just look, he's just gonna do good. That's all I gotta say. If you have a flex spot and you got some injuries, you got some buys, and you got Troy Franklin on your bench, I'd start him as a flex this week. So, yeah. Who is your tight end of the week?
So, my tight end of the week was coincidentally one of our waiver wire pickups of the week. And that is Zach Ertz against the New York Giants. He has scored, one of the things we mentioned in our waiver wire video was that he has scored 14 plus points in back-to-back games. Now, the Giants have been pretty good against the pass this year, and they have also been very good. I shouldn't say I don't know if they've been good at defending the tight end position. Looking at who they've played teams that are not too strong at the tight end position.
Here, I can look them up.
But yeah, it's I can't remember off the top of my head. I looked it up, but
do you want to know how they've done against tight ends this year?
I looked at it earlier. I didn't write anything down, but it wasn't. They've been pretty good, but at the same time, the teams they've played, like I said, I think it was like Pittsburgh last week, or I should say Monday. It was Philadelphia the week before, which they have Goddard, but Goddard's been hurt the last couple weeks, and I don't remember the last few teams before that.
So they played Minnesota, Washington, which don't have good tight ends, Cleveland, which they had Watson, Dallas,
Washington, which is the team that Ertz is on.
Yeah, well, okay, yes, but Ertz, I don't think he played much that game. The game that they played against Dallas, Ferguson was out. Seattle doesn't have a tight end. Cincinnati, they don't really. They got a Gesicki, but not great. It's like
Gesicki is like half washed.
Yeah, and then they played Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, which
Goddard was out.
Yes, and then last week Pittsburgh, which Freiermuth isn't anything. They haven't played the Kittles, the Kelseys, like. So
and
the numbers are skewed.
With Pittsburgh and Freiermuth, the numbers are skewed. That's kind of the point I'm getting to, is that they haven't really played anybody, and like Russell Wilson has never historically been a quarterback that likes throwing to his tight ends either. So I digress. Zach Ertz against the Giants, like I said, 14 plus fantasy points in back-to-back games. Washington, their offense with Daniels is just too good this year. Ertz has kind of become Daniels' security blanket as the short intermediate guy. We know Ertz is, he's kind of out of his prime, but as a tight end, tight ends don't really rely on, the one thing players lose as they age is their athletic ability and being the fastest guy in this, you can still be strong when you're old. Look at Travis Kelce, who's 35, playing tight end, and as long as you can get open and you can catch the ball when you're a tight end, that's the one thing that really matters. And I think that Ertz has established a good rapport with Daniels as his short to intermediate security blanket, and I think he should continue to roll again this week against the Giants. So Zach Ertz against the Giants is my tight end start of the week. Who is yours?
Yeah, my tight end of the week is Cole Kmet for the Bears. Cole Kmet versus the Cardinals. Plays for the Bears. The Cardinals have the seventh worst pass defense in the league, and they give the 13th most points to tight ends. Caleb Williams is very inconsistent, so he might cap his upside. But it seems like Caleb Williams plays bad, he plays good. He plays bad, he plays good. And I don't think Caleb Williams was very good last week. They should have to throw the ball more. When they get in the red zone, Seems like Caleb Williams looks his way, so I wouldn't be surprised if Cole Kmet scores a touchdown this week. And he plays all of the snaps at tight end. So the opportunity's there, the matchup is there, and he's starting to create rapport with Caleb Williams, who is only a rookie. So we got to give him a little bit of slack. He's only 7 games into his rookie season, so I really like Cole Kmet this week, and I'm starting him in one league for sure. So yeah,
I think
start him in our dynasty league
because you were saying you're starting him in one of your teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would probably be starting him every week, but I think the other teams I have him on, I either have Kelsey or Laporta.
Up until last week, you could have.
Yeah.
Laporta would have been questionable.
Yeah.
So, who's your defensive start of the week?
My defensive start of the week is Philadelphia versus Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia's defense has been hot 3 weeks in a row now, and last week they stymied a really good Cincinnati offense, led by Burrow and Chase. They were missing Higgins, but this team has still got a lot of weapons even without Higgins. This week they're going against Jacksonville, who after last week is severely banged up now. They lost Christian Kirk for the year. Brian Thomas has got a chest injury. He's a game-time decision. Gabe Davis is hurt. ETN, I believe, is supposed to be coming back. He's got from a hamstring injury, but even if when he comes back, Bigsby is I think Bigsby is going to continue to eat into his role, and that's going to be probably an even split moving forward because we've seen that they're both pretty good. But that Eagles defense, their strength is against the run. So even though they get ETN back and have Bigsby, you got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis in the middle, Zach Vaughn, Nakobe Dean. That's the strength of their defense. That passing offense for Jacksonville has dwindled. You got a lot of banged up receivers, and I think Philadelphia dominates again this week against a really poor Jacksonville team this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't hate on it.
Who's your defensive start of the week?
So my defensive start is the Commanders going against the Giants. Let's I don't have to say much. It's just I can say 2 words: Daniel Jones. The Giants give up the 3rd most fantasy points to fantasy defenses this year. So any defense who plays the Giants, there's a good chance that they're going to go off. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a passing touchdown in 3 straight games. So I don't even need to say anything besides just...
And he makes $40 million a year.
All right. Let me start that all over. Start Washington versus New York. Daniel Jones. That's all you got.
That's all you need to say.
Here, I mean, although I will say Tracy makes that offense better, but it's like it'd be like if I said Ron Smith at quarterback, you'd be like, oh, yeah. I mean, start any defense who plays against him.
I could probably do better.
I mean,
but yeah, they got Tracy Neighbors, but yeah.
And I have Neighbors playing in one league, so I hope he does well. But the odds just aren't in their favor. And earlier this year, they played earlier this week, didn't they? Or earlier this year. Why can't I pull it up? Oh,
pretty sure New York won.
They did.
It was close. Did they really?
No. Washington won by 3, I think. It was 18-21.
It was a close game at least.
It wasn't a great game, but I should mention. So yes, that sound is the super rare achievement on Xbox. So you had it.
The box.
You guessed it correct. You said the box.
Jorge had it.
It's not just a normal achievement. It's the
Attaboy.
super rare ones. So let's get into breakouts. But before we do that, let's quickly go over last week. Who was your
breakouts?
Yeah, who was your breakout last week? Let's just see how close we were.
My breakout last week was, and we don't have a threshold that we try to hit for breakouts.
It's just somebody who has not done well yet that finally explodes.
Yeah, and the player that I picked has had a couple decent games, but I was thinking in this situation that he was really gonna come to life and kind of take over against the defense they were going against. But my breakout last week was Romeo Doubs. He did score over 10 points in PPR leagues. So if, like you said, breakout is kind of somebody that hasn't really done a whole lot, but we're looking to finally have that big boom game. He didn't really have a boom game, but he didn't have a terrible game. So I'll call that a half a hit on that one. But mine was Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
Yours was definitely better than mine.
Mine went.
That's for sure.
Boom. That was Cedric.
Yours boomed for sure.
Cedric Tillman. He had, what did he do last week? He had 7 for 99 and 2 touchdowns. So, Tillman was right on the dot.
That was a great pick.
Dude, I have him in 2 or 3 leagues. Three leagues. And I think I'm going to start him every game now. I know it's only 2 games in a row, but he seems to be Winston's. He's his guy, and the dude is crazy talented. So let's go over our breakouts for this week. Who you got? Who you got breaking out?
So this week, my breakout player is Xavier Worthy. He's definitely got big playability, and he's been a little inconsistent this year. You know, the first week he scored 20 fantasy points. He had a couple touchdowns. Hasn't really... Man, Jorge is on fire.
Jesus.
Cheers. All right, we'll give it cheers. Lots of cheers.
Cheers, Jorgie. There's another 300 biddies.
We love biddies.
I like biddies.
Like I said, Xavier Worthy hasn't really had a boom game up to this point this year. I think the matchup this week is going to give him his best opportunity to have that boom week. Against Tampa Bay, they have been getting dismantled through the air in recent weeks. Last week, my quarterback start of the week was Kirk Cousins, who played Tampa Bay. And even with Baker not having his top 2 options, Tampa Bay played really well last week against Atlanta. And Baker continues to prove all of his haters wrong, that he is a great quarterback, and it doesn't matter who's catching the ball for him. He's been playing really well. And I think Kansas City is going to need to be passing the ball to try to keep up. Tampa Bay is 4th in the league in points per game. On the opposite side, their defense is giving up the 4th most points per game at 26.6. They're 28th in the league. They're 29th in pass yards per game, giving up 255. Like I said, Worthy, he's yet to have a true boom game. He's too fast and too electric to be bottled up all season long, and I think this is the week he breaks out, and I think he probably scores a couple long touchdowns this week against a really slow and weak Tampa Bay secondary. So I think Xavier Worthy is going to break out this week.
Yeah, so I had Worthy as my breakout as well, and I think the Hopkins trade will really help him out. You've got a
Right.
guy that is slower now, should focus on more of the intermediate to short game. I mean, Hopkins is Hopkins. He still can be elite, but between Kelsey and Hopkins, I think they're going to focus on the short game, and that should open up more opportunities for Worthy downfield. So, and he hasn't. You're right. He had one good game, which was week 1, and it was like 3 touches. So I'm not even going to consider that a breakout.
Yeah. It was like 5 touches.
Yeah, it wasn't much though.
It was like 3 catches, and he had like a 35, 40-yard touchdown. But yeah, he's been able to score touchdowns, which has kept him kind of like fantasy relevant as like a low wide receiver 2, high wide receiver 3, like flex. But he hasn't really had a boom week. And Patrick Mahomes is too good. Andy Reid is too good of a play caller. You know, Andy Reid turned Tyreek Hill from a almost undrafted punt returner to one of the best wide receivers in the league, and mostly because of his electrifying speed. And Xavier Worthy has that electrifying speed. You know, Andy Reid will figure out a way to use him. I think I'm hoping it's this week. I gotta play him in the one league that I have him in. I'm playing him mostly out of need. So I'm hoping that I'm right in this breakout game. But I think, you know, this is the best matchup he's had all year, and I think this will be the one for him to finally have that breakout boom game.
Mm-hmm. My breakout goes along with my start of the week for quarterback, and that's Adonai Mitchell. He hasn't done anything. He's finally healthy. I'm hoping that he can overtake Pierce for wide receiver 3. He was their 2nd-round pick, so they invested a lot of draft capital in him. Minnesota's pass defense, I know you're going to hate this, but they are terrible. They give up the 3rd most passing yards per game. So yeah, it's his time. He's gonna blow up. So that Donnie Mitchell is my breakout, and I say we get to our hot takes.
Yeah. To continue on to that, I think I drafted Mitchell in a couple leagues this year, thinking that he was going to at least be the wide receiver 3.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce hadn't really done much. We knew Downs had a really good rookie year last year, and we know Pittman's good. I just thought, you know, as an early 2nd-round pick, he would be doing a lot better. But when your starting quarterback the first few weeks is completing 40% of his passes,
Wayne Mitchell's missed a couple games too.
Yeah, I think he's still pretty raw, but you know he's got the physical talent. He's a big fast receiver. I think it'll work out for him. But yeah, against Minnesota, I think, you know, most of us Minnesota fans knew that. I think the biggest weakness on this team was their secondary. You got Harrison Smith, who's like 83. You got Stephen Gilmore, who's like 84. Like, they're old, they're slow. And so there's a reason that we picked, you know, you picked Flacco and I picked Downs as starts of the week this week, is just because that Minnesota defense, their weakness is secondary. So
yep. Hate to say it, but
yeah, like you said,
you could start wide receivers against Minnesota every week, and
yeah, I agree.
The odds are in your favor. But let's go over your hot takes from last week first.
Last week.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Last week.
I'd say you were.
So last week, my first one, I picked the Cowboys to take down the 49ers. The 49ers were favored. They were at home. Both teams have been underwhelming, I would say, so far this year. Funny enough, I got the score right, but just the wrong teams. 30-24 in favor of the 49ers. It took a big fourth quarter from CeeDee Lamb to even get to that point from the Cowboys, which I got CD on the teams, and he actually won me a week by like 2 points because of that performance. So, CD, shout out, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you. But I got the teams wrong. 49ers got a bye this week. They're getting healthy, so they should coming out 4-4 without probably the best player on their team. They're probably happy about that. Christian McCaffrey's supposed to be coming back, and you can probably expect the 49ers to look a lot different after their bye week. But my second hot take was that Sam Laporta goes for 6 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown and scores over 20 fantasy points. I would say I was about 3/4 right because he did have 6 catches. He did have a touchdown, but he only had 48 receiving yards. So I got the receiving yards half right.
I could be half.
I'll count that. That was a 75% correct prediction. So I count that as a win. Yeah. I think the score, even though the score was for the other hot take was opposite teams, the fact that I got it right, I think is pretty cool too. But either way, what were your hot takes for last week?
So my first one, it was Giants upset the Steelers, spoil Pickens' big day. Neighbors and Daniel Jones have career day, even though it's a terrible matchup. I was not right at all. Daniel Jones had he had a decent game for passing yards, I think. Mm-hmm. Either way, the Steelers ended up winning. Hey, let me look. Yeah, Steelers won 26-18, and Daniel Jones and Neighbors had 14 points. That was okay. Pickens had 11 points. Not great. I was just wrong all over the board. My second one, though, is where I hit. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to consider this one a full win because I did say Cleveland was only going to lose by 4, but since they won, it's better than my projection. I don't know. Does that count?
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're a Browns fan, hell yeah.
I didn't even think they were going to win. So the fact that they did better than my projection, we could say half, I guess, because I didn't actually say they were going to win. But Winston and Tillman have great games. Winston throws for 300 and 2 touchdowns, and Tillman goes for 100 yards. I was dead on with those. So I'll give myself
yards.
75%. Right? He had 302, and Tillman had 90.
He actually had 3 touchdowns.
Oh. Yeah, and Tillman had, 90 and 2 touchdowns?
99.
Okay. Technically, I'm not right then. I'm wrong. That's close enough.
Oh, man. You're within a yard. That counts.
I'll tell you. I mean, it was...
I think that's close enough. The fact that he was 1 away and still had 2 touchdowns.
And that the Browns beat the Ravens. Jesus. All right, let's get to our hot takes for this week, though. What do you got?
Hot takes for this week. So, my first one is Denver upsetting the Ravens in Baltimore as 9.5-point underdogs, 27-24.
Ooh.
And my second one goes hand in hand with the first one. Bo Nix has over 300 total yards and 3 total touchdowns.
I like it. Let's get it.
Yeah.
My 2 hot takes are Tampa Bay upsets Kansas City as, I believe, 9.5-point underdogs as well. Yeah, 9.5.
Oh,
wow. Baker throws for 300, 3 touchdowns, and a pick, but Tampa Bay wins. My second one is...
For real? Tampa Bay is a 9.5-point underdog? Is that...
Yeah. This is insane. Dude, if I'm a bettor, All right, we don't talk about betting much.
It's 8.5. It's 8.5 when I'm looking right now, but that is still
on Yahoo,
unreal. But
I wonder if it's different on each site.
I'm looking at ESPN.
Yahoo has it as -9.5. Either way, though, if you're a bettor, dude,
it's still a lot.
Smash that. I think it'll be a closer game than that.
Smash Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's gonna be It's gonna be like a 4 to 7 point game. For my second hot take, I got this is a hot take, like fresh off the oven. Adonai Mitchell comes alive for the Colts. First big NFL game, 6 for 80 and a touchdown. So there's our starts of the week, our breakouts, and our hot takes. You got anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. This is our start of the week video, and I think covered those, obviously. Shout out to MJ Jorge throwing biddies out like it's nothing. Love you, brother. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys, as always, like Nick said before, these are our opinions, and we mostly base this stuff off of matchups and stats. And we're never gonna go with the obvious. So hopefully, if you guys have some decisions to make,
we get a skull. Can we get a skull?
Yeah,
dude. MJ Jordy just throwing money left and right.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean they're just projections.
We obviously strive for excellence. We don't take this stuff lightly. We are very passionate. Cheers to Jorgy.
Cheers, Jorgy.
Jorge.
Free beer.
We're very passionate football players, and
Jorgy just bought those beers for us,
always.
Basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So, like always, we're live on Twitch every Friday night. Friday night with bros. We try to go live either Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Do waivers, recaps of the weekends, maybe a little bit of a outlook to Thursday night. We have a bunch of other social medias: Discord, Twitch, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can see any other posts we make. If you join our Discord, we post rankings, and we just talk a bunch of football. Like always, like, comment, and subscribe. If you comment any football-related questions on our videos, we'll make sure to answer them either through comments or in our next video. And if you subscribe to any of our channels, you'll get notifications on when we post videos or just any kind of content. So yeah. Happy Friday night, everyone, and Skol Vikes.
Skol. Peace.
Peace.